All right, good morning, everyone. We have a quorum now, and I'd like to call the July meeting of the Metro Board of Trustees to order, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I don't see any citizens today here to speak, so we will get started. Before we begin today's meeting, I want to acknowledge the recent tragic incident involving one of our buses that resulted in the loss of a life. On behalf of the board and the entire Metro organization, we extend our deepest condolences to the individual's family and loved ones, and to everyone affected by this tragedy. Out of respect for those involved in the ongoing investigation, we are unable to provide any additional details at this time. Oops. Okay, I was not at the Finance Committee last week, but I understand it was a pretty straightforward event, and we will hear from Mr. Walker later as he reviews the financial results. But before we do that, there was one item coming out of committee that we need to vote on, and that is a proposed resolution for the approval of 2027 grant applications.
Ms. Board Chair, may we approve the minutes?
Oh, sorry, I skipped that. Thank
Move
you.
approval of the minutes.
Okay, Mr. Metz, thank you. Is there a second? Okay, thank you, Mr. Bryce. Any discussion? None? Okay. Natalie? Is this a roll call? No? Oh, okay, sorry. All in favor of approving the minutes? Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, moving back to the Finance Committee. Okay, so we have this proposed resolution in front of us, and this is something that we do every year that authorizes the CEO, general manager, or the CFO to execute all contracts, agreements, certifications and assurances, and other documents necessary to apply for grants. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? No? Okay. This is roll call.
Yes, it is a roll call. Ms. Amat?
Yes.
Mr. Bryce? Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Metz?
Yes.
Ms. Moss?
Yes.
Ms. Sheets?
Yes,
Mr. Smith? And Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
thank you. Okay, Mr. Walker is going to walk us through the financial results.
Thank you, Ms. Sheets. We'll go through, firstly here, the standard look we have for the month. Total revenue came in at $15.5 million, which was favorable to budget by about $188,000. Largely, that favorability was driven by our sales tax revenue, which came in about $340,000 favorable to our budget. We had some offsets with fair revenue with our fixed route and CPS, but all in all, it was favorable by $188,000. Going down to the expenses, came in at $14.4 million. They were unfavorable to budget by $188,000. That's not a typo, the same number. So favorable revenue, unfavorable in the budget. Largely the unfavorability on the expense line. It was a few lines. Fuel was one problem again we had this month with the fuel prices. Another item, parts and supplies. Wages and benefits continue to be over budget. A lot of that is strategic, making certain that we have the staffing levels we need for the August service, in addition to some overtime. One thing I do want to highlight to the board is that the pure overtime dollars in the month of June were the lowest they've been all year. And the overtime dollars in June were also lower than they've been at any time since June of last year. So good news there managing the overtime spend that we have. Netting those two numbers together, you can see if one's 188, the other one's 188, we're probably spot on to budget, which we were. So great work all around to hit our budget figure for the month. Looking at the ridership total, ridership came in at 1.123 million riders for the month. That was favorable to the budget by about 7,000 or a little bit less than 1%. But the one good news here is it's about 80,000 riders greater than we had last year at this time. So good work all around there, getting our ridership numbers favorable to the budget and also to the to prior year. Let's go to the next page, Natalie. Here we have our year-to-date look at our financials. Going to the right side, want to keep in mind here for everyone, we have 4 months of actuals for sales tax. Sales tax is about 70% of our revenue, so always keeping a close eye on that. But again, 4 months of actuals here. Looking at the revenue line, you can see basically right on the budget for the year. We're at 87 million in actual, 87.1 for a budget, within 0.1%. So good work there. Again, from the fair revenue standpoint, slightly under, but that was offset by the sales tax revenue that we have. Also want to, going down to the expense line, our expenses were a little greater than what we had expected year to date. But again, all in all, about 0.5%, so pretty good budgeting on that front, good expense management as well. On the fuel line, I think everyone knows we've had a lot of volatility, and we do hedge 90% of our fuel. For the year, you can see our operating capital contribution, netting those two numbers together, is at 1.344 million, a little bit less than the budget we have year to date. But going back to the fuel, as I was mentioning, fuel, if we had not hedged any, our hedge proceeds for the year are 1.4 million. So absent hedging, our operating capital contribution would be a negative number. So great work. Appreciate the board and the committees giving us the ability to hedge our fuel. We do that for expense, for price certainty, along with risk mitigation. That's showing really the full value of a hedging program of what we've seen in the markets this year. Next page, Natalie. Our standard look here at sales tax. As I've mentioned, we have 4 months of actual. The 2 months down below, May and June, you do see an asterisk. What we do is we book those to budget until we get some information from the state of Ohio regarding the sales tax revenue. Again, sales tax is outperforming last year. We're, call it 5.5% greater than we were last year at this time. So good trending here on the sales tax line, which does represent the majority of our revenue. Any questions from the group here? Yes, Mr.
That our ridership went up 80,000?
From last year, yes, sir.
What are the factors in this?
Well, planning and ops can, I think Mr. Metz will give you an update, unless you want to take some thunder away from you, Pete.
Please take thunder. It's fine.
I think, Mr. Smith, I think it's really good work all around. We've seen a lot of targeted advertising. We look at the planning of the routes has worked well. And candidly, I don't think the fuel price has probably helped us as well. So all in all, I think it's a lot of factors coming together, Mr. Smith, that have contributed to that performance. So just really good work all around the agency. Any other questions? All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments regarding the Finance Committee? And if not, we'll roll right into Planning and Ops with an update from Mr. Metz.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry, I was using the wrong mic. I was going to start by talking about the ridership wins for the month. It was a productive meeting, and we are seeing that nearly on track to budget for the year, ahead of budget for the month, and ahead of last year as well. So tracking in the right direction on ridership. We had a really interesting presentation on survey results based on onboard surveys that we did across our entire system with a new vendor who was able to provide us with some really interesting national benchmarks to see how we are benchmarking from a rider perspective compared to systems across the country. I would note two things from that all in all, the two most important things we heard from riders was they care about safety on the bus while they're waiting for the bus, and they care about service reliability. They want to know that the bus is going to come on time. Things we know, things we're prioritizing, but really good to hear that from our riders. Got a really interesting presentation on Metro Now, and in particular heat maps in each of the zones as to where people are going. Access to food is clearly a top priority for folks in these zones, and so opportunities to continue to double down there. We next had a conversation. We had Doug McClintock from Red Bike come in and present to the committee on the progress they've made to date on the integration and partnership. Number of good things in the presentation. I won't go through it in detail, but in particular, I want to shout out the planning and ops team here who have been coordinating with them on station location, and the station locations that Metro has recommended to Red Bike are seeing a 223% increase in ridership on average, whereas most of their other stations are seeing about a 95% increase in ridership. So good news across the entire system, but the integration and partnership that this board called for is paying off. So those were the presentations. We had one action item around biometric screenings that I'm happy to move approval on. But before I do that, Are there any questions about the substance of the meeting? Nope.
Nope.
Then I'll move approval of the resolution.
Second.
Great. Any discussion or questions? Okay, if not, we'll go ahead and vote. Roll call.
Ms. Amat?
Yes.
Mr. Bryce?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Metz?
Yes.
Ms. Moss?
Yes.
Ms. Sheets?
Yes.
Mr. Smith? And Ms. Taylor?
Great, thank you. And this month, we had a paratransit committee. It sounds like you had good discussion there as well, Mr. Kelly.
Yeah. This was our first meeting of the year. We really got a big update as to everything that's been going on in 2026. So we started out talking about the Easy Connect. Just to update everyone, Easy Connect is the one-seat ride for individuals that goes all the way up through Butler County and can go all the way through to Northern Kentucky for paratransit. And 113 people are current active users of that. Our discussion in that program was we have a grant that runs through this calendar year. So in paratransit and this board, it's going to have to make some decisions with consultation of our friends in Butler County and our friends at Tank about what we do going forward when we have to put our own money into this project. We also talked about the Easy Connect phone system as well, and we have increasing numbers of calls to that. And that system is individuals asking questions or booking rides over the phone. And that is increasing around 400 to, in the last month, it was almost 700 calls. So that is a number increasing as well. We also got update on access, more of a robust update on access, and they are meeting their trip scheduled numbers for what they desire between 92 and 93% drop off or pickup. But as always, we want to get as close to 100% as possible. So we're endeavoring to get there, but we're meeting the numbers that we expect on that. And we also are meeting our safety numbers as well with access. So the annual preventable accident goal is 24 for a year. In 2024, there were 28 preventable accidents. 2025, there were 22. And so far in 2026, there's only been 11. So that is great progress and on the training team and the drivers. We also got an update on Metro's efforts to update their training material. That was pretty outdated. We had this discussion back in 2025, and what they are aiming to do is to not otherize people with disabilities in their training. The idea is everybody gets on a bus or any kind of ride, they need to be treated as a customer who has needs that need to be met, whether they are physical disabilities, unseen disabilities, or just a rider. So that is continued update for their training. Are there any questions?
I thought that was a great presentation in the materials, and I want to thank you for raising that as an issue for us to address, because it really does make a difference when you read the before and after, and I think that's a great step for the organization. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other comments? Okay. All right, moving on to Mr. Aiello.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Sheets. Just a couple quick updates for the board. As was mentioned in committee, we had an update on our 4 Metro Now zones. Some of that was to prepare the group and the team for launch of Zone 5. So you all know that as part of our budget process, we had planned to launch a 5th and 6th zone this year. So zone number 5 is coming to the Bond Hill area. So it's Bond Hill, St. Bernard, Roselawn, a little bit of Norwood and those surrounding areas. That will launch on August 30th, which is pretty exciting. We'll have our celebration on August 26th. You'll all get an invitation to that. We'll be doing that at the Community Action Agency there on Reading Road. Another thing that we've been working on here at staff, as we get closer and closer to implementation of BRT, as Sharon Lacombe has given you updates every month, there are a lot of strategic decisions that need to be made about BRT when it comes to, how we paint lanes and how we collect fare and what's on the platform and what's not on the platform. We're fortunate in the United States, BRT as a concept launched about 20 years ago. Cleveland was the first city that had BRT. It has changed a lot in those 20 years. We have learned as an industry what works and what doesn't work. So our team here, we have about 8 or 9 folks that are on our organizational team for BRT, along with the representative from the city of Cincinnati, have been touring BRT systems of similar cities in size throughout the country to learn best practices from their folks, from their maintenance teams, what should we avoid, from their operations teams, what should we learn and train for, so on and so forth. So you can see that team is active right now visiting St. Pete, Omaha, Madison, Milwaukee, Seattle, and Portland. So they have been very, very busy doing these one-day parachute in and learn a whole lot and then move on to the next. So I think that this is risk mitigation for our project. When we learn the what not to do's are just as important as the what to do. So we're excited about BRT and its progress there. As usual, this time of year, I think that school will start before this board convenes again. So we would just want to mention that we are in our typical full swing of preparing for back to school. So everything that you've seen in the years past, you'll see again. That includes Metro's attendance at the CPS back to school event. That includes our attendance at all of the orientation sessions at each of the high schools. Again, we will allow parents to ride Metro for free with their student that first week of school to help them orient them to the system. And again, the 311 and community response team, along with our quality of life team, is geared up and prepared to meet students at transit centers and help them along their way during the start of school. So I think a few more videos and student-oriented communication is going to go out. We did that a little bit last year. We're going to build on that this year. So we're excited about back to school with CPS. August service pick, we mentioned this in one of our previous meetings, but just as a reminder, our August service pick goes into effect here soon. And with that, you'll see some of the changes that are happening in the system are the continued evolution of our multinodal system. The 3 improvements that are listed here are improvements that are not in downtown, right? This is making connections that we're seeing patterns that need to be made. So the 47 will better connect Avondale to the Oakley Transit Center. The 53 will better connect St. Bernard to Oakley through Norwood, which is an east-west that did not exist before. And the 70 will connect a very busy area in Blue Ash near the UC campus to Uptown. And there's a lot of travel demand there as well. So these are those non-radial, non-spoke, multinodal adjustments that we make to the system, and we're excited about continuing to speed folks' travel throughout the region. The last thing I'll mention is that this board's well aware that we're doing a deep dive into Government Square. We've learned that concurrently, the city of Cincinnati is going to update their downtown Cincy plan, which hasn't been comprehensively updated since 1986. And then also the CBC and others are looking at downtown and doing some real estate evaluation and so on and so forth. So we are working together to make sure that we're all coordinated in this effort. You'll hear more about this in the coming weeks, but we just wanted to let you know if you hear about planning efforts downtown that we are engaged with those teams, and we're going to make sure that we are coordinated and aligned. Ms. Sheets, that's my report. Happy to answer any questions.
That is fantastic. Thank you. And with everything you said, it occurred to me that there's so much growth and pivoting and learning as we're doing, and I love that we are not static and we're just continuously improving. So everything that you discussed there was evidence of that. My only comment is to the board, if your schedule allows, when back to school gets underway, if you have time to stop by one of the transit centers to see this in action, where the 311 workers, Metro employees, Cincinnati police, they're all working together to make sure the transit center is safe and the kids have the assistance that they need to get where they're going. It's a really nice thing to see it in action. I had the chance to do that last year at the Oakley Transit Center, and I was glad that I could see it firsthand. So I encourage you to do that if you have time. Mr. Smith.
The first week of school for the parents to ride the bus for free.
Yep.
I said, Cincinnati Public starts on the 19th of August.
Yep.
So is it the 19th, 20th, 21st, or does it also for 7 days?
I believe that we do it prior to the week, Brandy?
Wednesday to Wednesday, okay.
Good question. Thank you for bringing that up. So again, parents can ride with students the Wednesday that school starts to the Wednesday, the following Wednesday. Thank you.
I don't know if it's another presentation, but for the BRT, the timeline, and I believe her name is Sharon.
Yep.
Presented on it before.
Yep.
But it's been a while, so.
Yep. We'll bring that back to Planning Ops Committee next. We've had a standing BRT update at every Planning Ops Committee. We did not do it this month because there was not much to update. We're moving into more granular design. So there's a lot of work to be done, but a lot of it is taking two-dimensional plans and making them three-dimensional plans. But we will come to Planning and Ops in August and have a full update, including the timeline.
I'd love to, and I don't want to ask someone to put together a big presentation, but I'd love to know what they learned from some of these cities and what we're taking away.
Yeah,
Great idea.
and that is they have a process through which every trip they come back and each of the component parts of each representative on the team is providing learnings. They're summarizing those learnings. They're going to provide those learnings to our executive team here in a couple weeks, and we can provide that at our next board meeting.
That's great.
Perfect.
That's something to look forward to in August. Great.
It's amazing, the great thing about our industry is that we have peer systems that do the same thing that we do, and they are more than willing to share information. We don't compete, right? And the openness that we've received in these cities has been incredible.
Great.
And our interest in what they're doing is welcomed. So yeah, we're happy to provide that report.
Great. Thank you. Any new business to come before the board today? No? Okay, this is not a record, but almost a record for the shortest meeting. So with that, we are adjourned at 9:34. Thank you. See you in August.